So we'll move on to our next question. And on Facebook from Natalie, we received a question saying, what is the best 1 to 3 day hike you recommend for beginners?
For beginners.
For beginners.
All right, cool. What do we have on the list? Cool. Oh, yeah. Well, the first one that I'm going to start with is going to be the Tongariro Circuit, because it is one of the New Zealand Great Walk, because it includes New Zealand's most popular hike, which is the Tongariro Crossing, and because it's rather easy. Now, it's about 3 days, 3 days hike, but you get 2 days which are actually rather flat, almost entirely flat. They're very, very flat, so they're very easy for beginners. And then you have 1 day, which is the Tongariro Alpine Crossing, which is quite tough in sections, but it's one of the most popular hike in the country, as I mentioned. So it's not that hard. There's plenty of people around. It's just a good challenge, a good kind of easing.
Yeah.
And before we go through the hike, I think we should mention that in New Zealand, the hikes are actually not hard as navigation purposes, right?
Yeah, so the thing to know about New Zealand's walks, or most of New Zealand's walks, is that they're very, very, very well signposted. There's an easy, really well-graded track to follow, so you don't need to worry about having a map. You don't need to have any special navigation skills or anything. The walks in New Zealand are made very, very accessible for any type of hiker, even beginners as well. And I'll just mention that actually all the hikes that we list on BackpackerGuide.NZ, we've only picked hikes that really they have a track to follow, and they're doable for beginners as well. So that's really good to know. And I'll make sure that I get some of those links to some of the hiking articles into the description below when we do the rebroadcast of this video. But shall we move on to another hike that is worth doing? So another really good, great walk to do is the Rakiura Track. And that is in Stewart Island, which is the island just below the South Island. You can get a ferry to and from there. And 80% of the island is a national park. And what makes this really good for beginners is that not only is it around 3 days or 3 to 5 days to hike, it's also mostly flat. So you're not going to have to do any strenuous uphills on that one. And as Robin was saying before with the great walks are very well facilitated. So they have lots of huts which usually have some water, although it's best to boil your water before drinking it. And there's lots of huts, only about 4 hours of hike between each other. So it's not like you have to walk for all day to get to the next hut. You can usually take it easy and you will get to a hut in good time.
Yeah, the next one is Roy's Peak. It's not a multi-day hike, this one. It's a 1 day, probably about half a day walk. But it's one of the most popular hike in the South Island. It gives you those beautiful Instagram shots. You know those one when people are walking on the mountain ridge, overseeing mountains and sunrise and the beautiful lake. Well, that's this hike right here. It's super popular. There's heaps of people there. And it looks absolutely gorgeous. It's definitely a hike to do. And it's only, it is tough. There is some quite steep uphill, but again, super well signposted. And it's kind of a good challenge because it doesn't last too long as well. You don't necessarily want to go up for 6 days. You're not climbing the Everest right here, you know? The other one is the Rootburn Track, right?
Yeah, so the Rootburn Track is another great walk, and that is a 3-day hike, although some people can do it in 2 days. And this is in the Fiordland National Park, which is in the South Island, and that's sort of the area around where Milford Sound is. So a lot of people really want to do that great walk, and that's why it's a really popular one to do. And the reason that one's pretty good for beginners is that although there are some sections about half the time where you are going uphill, and it's actually quite tough going uphill, there are huts really close by each other. So you can actually take your time when doing the uphill sections. And if it takes you all day, then that doesn't really matter because you're likely to come across a hut to stay in for the night and you'll be fine. And that is definitely a hike that a lot of beginners do like to do. And again, it's 3 days, so it's not that long. And the scenery is absolutely stunning.
Now, before we wrap up this question about hikes around New Zealand, right? I just want to say that there are so many hikes around the whole country. Like, I mean, there are thousands. I'm pretty sure there are tens of thousands of hikes around, and most of them are actually really easy. There's really heaps of them, and they're all super well signposted. Even some of the most obscure hikes are super well signposted, which is quite surprising. Now, if you go on BackpackerGuide.NZ, you will find that we recommend so many different hikes, and we usually stay away from the really like epic tramping stuff which you have to prepare yourself for like months before you can do. And we usually mention things that, you know, if you do have a pair of hiking boots and you have a bottle of water and you kind of use a couple of common sense and the advice that we put on the website, you'll be totally fine doing. So make sure to check out the website and you'll find heaps of hikes for beginners right here. And I hope that this will help you make your trip you know, something really exceptional for you, Natalie. And if you do have any extra questions, in the comment below, plenty of links in the description below. And obviously, if you're watching a rerun of this video, ask us any questions you may have, because we're starting again this whole show next week.